Stop acting as though this is somewhere you have to get to. You doing you in your way is just as good as me doing it in my way. So do what needs to be done to take care of yourself as the exquisite being that you are.
Hello, USG family, wherever you might be joining. I want you to know I'm so excited. First of all, thank you. Love being here with you. There are so many places that you can hang, and it really means a lot that you are here with us right now in this conversation. Oh my gosh, you are going to love, 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 love my guest. I am so grateful I got to meet Stephanie Banks beforehand. And actually, we will talk about this, got to experience her intuitive amazingness. Stephanie Banks is an intuitive guide and channel. And I just want to say that this is the kind of conversation you want to get like your favorite cup of whatever. If you're walking, get ready for a good walk, good drive, whatever you're doing. This is going to be a fantastic conversation. Thrilled you're here. Stephanie,
Thank
thank
you.
you for being here.
Thank you, Julie. Now we have to deliver, so let's do it.
You know what, girl? We just turn it over and it's going to pour through us. I already know it. Don't even have to do much. You're so funny. You're like,
Okay.
okay. Well, I want to ask this question because this is sort of what I'm always curious about. Did you always know that you were an intuitive channel? Like, tell us about that and how you got into it. Was this something you knew early on in your life? Is this kind of a wow, that's surprising? Like, what's your story around stepping into intuitive channel?
Yeah. No, I'd never heard of this before. Before like 15, 16 years ago, mm, 17 or 18 years ago, this was not any part of my lived experience. It was not part of my upbringing. It wasn't part of a religious background. I always felt connected to nature. I always communicated, through my heart with trees and animals and the natural world. I assumed everybody did, but that it wasn't it wasn't this. It wasn't what I'm doing now. I was exposed to channeling because the universe brought me a beautiful best friend years ago, and she was a channel, and I it was the first time I'd ever seen someone be able to connect on a soul level with souls that were here on the planet, with souls that were on the other side, with really basically any energy or entity you could ask her to channel, and she would do it. And it blew my mind. I had not any exposure to this, but I could feel in my bones and in my body the beauty and the love and the truth of the messages that were coming through her. And I started to kind of covet that ability myself. I wanted some of that. What is she doing? How is she doing it? How do you just drop in and ask a question and a soul comes through and gives you an answer and it's from pure love? So I started to gather more groups for her to channel for, and eventually started to hear messages coming through my own self as well. But during all of this, I was struggling with my relationship with my mother. And this was because my mom had dementia. She had a type that affects younger people. It's called frontotemporal dementia. And by the time they diagnosed it, we were deep into a disrupted relationship. We were frustrated. She couldn't understand me very well, and I was having a hard time connecting with her. So I asked this best friend, whose name was Jen. She's on the other side now. Will you please channel my mom for me? I have no idea what she needs. I have no idea how I can serve her. I have no idea if this can ever improve or if we're just sort of trapped in this endless spiral of misunderstanding and frustration. So we sat outside by the lake where she lived. We had a fire going, and she channeled my mom. And I got to ask my mom's soul, what are we here to do together? Why why dementia, right? This is so hard. This seems impossible to get through. What is there anything positive from this? How are you, what is it that you're here to do with dad? Am I supporting that? Am I in the way of that? And through my best friend, I learned all the answers to my questions, which allowed me to make a different choice in my relationship with my mom, which allowed us to change the entire nature of our relationship. And it went from something that felt very low vibe to something that was joyful and playful and fun and lighthearted. And it remained mostly that through the remainder of her life.
Wow. Wow. Can you share, I mean, and when we get to it, the experience I had with you is very had a similar feel. So can you give an example of maybe the perspective that shifted if you're comfortable?
Yeah, absolutely. There were many things that she shared that I was like, huh, had no idea. One thing that I thought I was doing really well was intervening on behalf of my father, or really anyone else that might be in the vortex, if you will, of her energy, because her experience of dementia was not a quiet, pleasant one. It was loud. It was very powerful mood shifts that were unpredictable. And it was very hard for people to know how to respond to that or manage that, including myself. So I would often jump into the fray to try to, it was really an effort to try to control the situation. And what her soul told me was, mind your own business. She basically said, back off. This is not about you. My relationship with your father it predates you. It has nothing to do with what you can do for us. He does not need your protection. Has shown up by choice to serve in this way, and you are interfering with what our souls are here to do, how I'm here to receive from him and how he's here to serve. Wow, that was very eye-opening. So then I had the opportunity to decide maybe not to do that anymore or not to do it so often, because old habits die hard. She also helped me to understand that when she would look like she was zoning out or like completely not present to our conversation or what was going on around her. And I would have the temptation to like touch her shoulder or like bring her back to our moment and remind her of what the conversation is about so she could re-engage. Sometimes that was very jarring for her and she did not want to engage. So she would tell me, you don't know this, but I'm actually having conversations too. They're not part of what you're talking about at the dinner table. They're not with who you're talking to at the dinner table. They're with my dad who's on her father who was on the other side, or ancestors and loved ones or guides. I never imagined that. I thought she was lost and needed to come back and be reoriented to our reality. And she was basically saying, sometimes your reality is very dull. I don't want to be part of it. So let me have mine. And that was another opportunity to meet her where she's at. Maybe ask her, hey, mom, you just smiled, into the space. Who are you smiling at right now? Or what's making you happy right now? It's a new way to be with someone to show curiosity like that.
I think actually this wisdom is really good for all of us, whether, you have a parent with something as traumatic as dementia or, meddling or trying to change it or shift the situation or get someone to I see this with we had talked about this. I have a stepdaughter who's severe autism or she's nonverbal and it's funny, I've thought about that. Oh, the looking off to the side or the babbling or whatever is going on, isn't that interesting to think about? That could be with her guides, with whomever, not not what it seems to us. And of course, then this can also apply for any of us with our kids, our family, like trying to get them into our world versus getting in theirs. This has been something I've found fascinating as I've gotten into the telepathy tapes, talking a lot about using this. So how fascinating. I can hear it really shifted like your entire perspective now of your mom and what's happening in a cool way.
In an awesome way. Yeah, I
Yeah.
started to see her as, I don't know, as a soul, basically. And instead of just strictly the role of mother-daughter, which is so complex anyway, right? There's such a history there, and it wasn't always a happy history. And there was an exchanging of roles because now I'm in a caregiver position with her. However, I wasn't aware of or allowing her to have all of this authority and autonomy in the way that she now did because I didn't understand it. And I thought she needed me to handle this. I have a background as a speech pathologist, so my clinical training is in bringing people who have cognitive deficiencies back up to speed. That's not necessarily something that's possible with dementia, but I tried.
Yeah, wow. Isn't that fascinating? That was your background. I mean, that's like you would hire one of you
Yes.
to help with that. And then getting through Jen from her soul that actually she doesn't want that. She didn't want
No.
that.
No, no. I'm sure there were moments where it was helpful, but more
Yeah.
often than not, she found it to be disruptive to
Yeah.
her flow. And, it was
Mm.
just really hard to tell what her flow was because the facial expressions, at least for my mom's dementia, they didn't always match what was going on internally for her. So she might appear a certain way, and then I think, oh, that's my cue to bring her into the fold and help her feel more social, but that's not what she needed. So, and then you add to that the disruption in communication. She cannot communicate so clearly anymore through traditional means. So channeling gave us an opportunity to communicate clearly without getting stuck on words or concepts or memory.
That's amazing. Did you,
Yeah.
I'm curious, was there it sounds like there was, but once you started to really understand what was going on, what kind of positive shift in the relationship did you notice? Like, and I'm curious if you could see it in her face or not, or what you kind of observed more so with your like physical eyes. What did you experience with your, you know, emotionally with her that changed?
We both kind of relaxed. I think she felt instantly from me like that she was okay and with whichever presentation happened to be of the moment, whatever mood, whether she wanted to engage with my kids in play or whether she just wanted to kind of sit in the corner of the room off to herself. And then when she was able, she wanted to be playful. Like we would dance in the kitchen, make up nonsense songs, and march around the kitchen just repeating these little silly, silly ditties or songs that she taught me as a child when I was younger. That I knew were in there because music is something you can tap into regardless of what's happening usually in the memory of the brain. So it let us like play and laugh and be silly and not be so specific or need to be right or even need to be understood. It took away the pressure to have ourselves understood by the other. We could just be goofy in any moment, and that would be enough.
Oh my gosh, so many lessons in this. Wow. So, in terms, and I'll come back to your mom because I do have a question, but I am curious. So, Jen, who did this, had this beautiful gift. Walk us through your wanting to do this, your curiosity to like now you can. Was there something that shifted in you? Did you get a training? Did you talk to the universe? Did you just wake up and like, I don't know, I can channel. Like this is amazing. What tell us, Stephanie, you're so funny. What happened? How did that happen? And I know others listening are like, yeah, I want to know. I'm sure I know many, many,
Yeah.
many listening would love to know how to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Unfortunately, I didn't just wake up the next day and boom, there it was, and I could tap into it. But through these groups that I would gather and that Jen would channel for, I learned an immense amount through observation and through the feeling of what was coming through. And that's what allowed me to start to discern, oh, wow, I think I'm getting this a message too, or I think this is coming through as well. She was the best mentor for me because she was always encouraging. And I told her I really want to learn to do this, so she sent me to her mentor, who's also on the other side now, but at the time she was local. I could drive to her house. She taught us how to use a pendulum. She taught us how to like spell out. We would use a letter board, not a Ouija board, a letter board. It's different. And we would get the name of our spirit guide who was with us spelled out, or the name of an ancestor spelled out. And that was like the beginning. And then I also wanted to be trained by someone world renowned. So I got training with Sonia Choquette,
Mm,
who I think is brilliant. Yes.
yeah, she's been
Fun.
here.
Really? Yes, yes. And she's hilarious, and her workshops are filled with dance and joy and play. So that's where I learned to incorporate that foundation into channeling, which is very much how I teach right now as well. Um, so we're talking years of practice, years of workshops, of reading, of more practice. And then one day I was sitting in the carpool line and I was chatting with my guides, and I had just finished the highest level training that Sonia offered. And I said to my guides, who's my next teacher? Like, where's my next workshop? Where am I going next? Who am I going to learn from? And they said, no more workshops right now. You get out and serve the people. You know enough. So that was scary, and I didn't really believe that. It took me a long time to develop trust in myself and in what was coming through. But I understood their message and I had learned a lot and I hadn't had much of a chance to apply this. It was all just, information, knowledge, but without practice. So I said, if that's true, if I'm really ready, then I'm willing, but please be the gatekeepers because one thing I was and am concerned about is I want to make sure I'm channeling for the people who hold a similar vibrational match as me because I am highly sensitive. I do tend to absorb stuff, even with all the work that I do to not. And I didn't want to kind of get mired down in something that felt dark or heavy or, lower frequency because it would take me a long time to shake that. And within half an hour, I got a phone call with my first paying client that I had not met, but that was referred to me by my esthetician whose son came through in a channeled message as I lay there with goop on my face a month prior. And she said to me after I gave that message to her, you let me know when you're ready to take on clients. I have a lot of people to send you. And she was not lying. I can trace my first 100 people back to that referral.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. There's a lot in what you just shared, and I want to, I guess, unpack it a little bit because I think, for anyone listening who, first of all, and this speaks to what I firmly am so wholeheartedly believe, which is we all have access to our intuition and to be able to connect, both beings here on the other side, like we do. And you really, and you could probably look back now, flip the tapestry and see all those threads that now look beautiful when you turn it over. Jen and then her mentor and then Sonia and then these beautiful trainings and then getting okay enough. And this is something, the trainings I similarly relate, having done a lot of these workshops and trainings, can build that sense of efficacy and confidence and feeling of, okay, I'm grounded in it. What I think is fascinating is the knowing it's time and the hearing your guide say it's time and then letting the divine right away bring somebody, you know, great sign, great synchron, like you can't make that up. And that it was also, I want to say, courageous too. It's courageous to do this, to say it. I recently had an experience of what I saw was just rip the Band-Aid off, Julie. You've got to rip it off. You've just got to rip it off and say this is something you do. So there is, I just applaud you because it takes something to do that, to especially in a world where, some might, everyone looks at it differently, right? I know for listening here, anyone listening, we're in the same vibe. Not everyone gets it, not yet.
You're totally right. And courage, that's it, courage
Yeah.
is the heart. And it does take tremendous courage to agree to do this, to serve in this way. Because with channeling, as you know, um, we don't have any control over the messages, right? Like I can't prepare um, for a channeling session other than energetically, which of course I do and I'm highly responsible for. But I can't be like, okay, I'm going to study this dimension. And then when a person asks me anything about it, I will have knowledge to draw on to be able to produce the most ideal message. It's a wildly out of control experience. And for someone with a clinical background, definitely not comfortable. I liked being a clinician and I liked knowing that this was evidence-based, practice for swallowing disorders or cognition or whatever it was. So yes, it took a huge leap. And the funny thing is that that very first client that called me, she left a message and she said, "I don't know what you do. I don't know why I'm calling you. All I know is that Kate said you must talk to Stephanie, and here is her number." So it was another sign from the universe, like none of us really know. We're just showing up as we're called.
Absolutely. And I even feel like the universe in her, like the nudge, I don't know why that nudge and the timing, there's something else
Yeah,
clearly going on. Yeah, that is
totally.
fantastic. I actually, something you mentioned, because I'm sensing there's questions around this. We do have a lot of intuitive people that are tuning in that might be using this work in different ways. And this is something I think is really important. And I love what you said, your integrity and ethic around your energy and managing it, especially before a session, after. Can you talk, Stephanie, a little bit about maybe some of the tips or tools or things that you do that are just non-negotiable to manage your energy, especially before a reading? But what can we learn from you that you would love everyone to know, that would be helpful around that?
Yeah. It's crucial, I think, to prioritize one's own needs, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, all of that. And so for some of us, we don't know what those are. We're so used to being, externally focused and mothering or nurturing or caregiving, and especially those who are in those roles, in those family roles, that they don't even know. I didn't used to know, like, what do I need even just to reach a foundation of being full. Joy is like the overflow of that, but like just being full enough, having enough. And so for me, I take that very seriously. I call it bodacious self-care, and it's really now I love it, and I don't compromise on it most of the time. But for me, it involves getting out in nature. That is a must. I must be among the bunnies and butterflies and birds and trees and the beauty, the magic, the miracle that is life, watching a seed grow into food, watching, like, oh my gosh, what a planet! What a planet we are on. It brings me so much joy. And I do earthing, so standing barefoot on the earth, letting energy and seeing energy drain out of me that does not serve me, that I have absorbed from global situations or others, and then bringing energy through, the crown, or imagining it comes directly through my heart, from the natural world, which is abundant, wildly abundant. So that's a must. And we've all heard this, but very few of us actually listen to it. But sleep, sleep. I'm gonna say it again, sleep. We are
Yes.
walking around sleep deprived. And I'm no good to anyone if I don't have the rest that I need, because then everything suffers. So rest, sleep, meditation, which I do consider as important as sleep, actually. Sometimes if I get a good meditation in, it feels like I've had an amazing nap. And it's literally only been a few minutes of what I consider a good meditation. I'm not a great meditator. I keep showing up to it, but I'm not like, I don't feel totally zen the whole time. Very rarely do I, in fact. Relationships. Who is in my inner circle? Do they still belong? And this is not about ego. This is about, am I being sourced with the energy that I also give and deliver? And over the years, friendships have changed and some have spun off elsewhere, right? And marriages too, for that matter. Relationships just shift, and sometimes there's not room for all of us or the version of us that we are becoming. And so we have to make the hard decision, like where to put that if we continue to invest in that. That's crucial. I mean, I consider that part of self-care. Hydration, also really important. These are like basics. And I'm going to say something funny, but I really mean it. Dark chocolate. Yes.
I have a special relationship with this. This is like bringing up heat because I love it so much and sometimes too much. I am with you on this. Actually, what I heard is, Julie, calm down. Calm down on the dark chocolate. Calm down because
That's it.
yeah.
That's all.
Ooh,
You can forget everything else I said. If you just do the dark chocolate, you're going to be fine. You're going to be
that's
fine.
right.
There is something about it. And for that
Yeah.
matter, our food choices. We don't have to get in a whole topic about that, but what we choose to consume, whether it's visually, whether it's mentally, whether it's, what we
Mm,
process through our bodies and what we eat, this is important. It's vibration too. So I just nudge people towards the plants. You're going to have really good high vibration with consuming plants and fresh stuff that has a high vibe, and that tastes amazing and that makes you joyful. I mean, I happen to be a foodie, but it's beautiful. Again, bringing us back to this amazing planet. Look at all of the foods she is producing for us. Wow. Amazing. So these are like baseline, I think, foundational things. And then what I do to prepare for a session is I might use my mala beads and have a mantra that I do 108 times. I might drop into meditation. I might do a quick coherence technique, which is part of Heart Math Institute. Check them out. That there's a lot of beautiful, incredible research on the power of the heart, as you know. So there's lots of ways to open up to the spirit world and to what you are willing to bring through in terms of what energy you're tuning to.
beautiful. Oh my God, Stephanie, I'm like, yep, yes, and yes. I'm going to link for anyone who I've interviewed Dr. Debbie Rosman and Dr. Roland McCready a few times from the Heart Math Institute, and I am obsessed with their work, the science, the data, and it's what I love is it's free. You can put your hand on your heart at any time. When you do heart coherent breathing and connecting, you change your vibration immediately into a coherent state, care, love, appreciation. So I love that you brought that up as well. It's really, to me, it's like we need to pay attention. Our highest magnetic field is around our heart. Like, what is that saying about our design? I mean, come on, people. We are meant to be heart centered.
And and if you do this heart coherence, you're actually adding coherence to the field for humanity.
Yes,
So if you're like, oh, well, does it really work for me? Or is there a reason for it? Yes. If you're not doing it for you, then do it for someone across the world who you'll never meet, but needs to be able to feel
Mm,
that on some level. It works. It works. This has been studied. This has been proven.
100%. It's interesting actually when I did a basic Reiki training and that's one of the positions, your hands on your heart, and it's really the one I don't always do the whole 8 positions, but I always go to bed and wake up with my hands here and I feel a big difference in my body, nervous, all of it. And it's just I'm just going to encourage everyone. I mean, try it. We can do it right now. Hand on your heart. Just feel like what that feels like. Yeah. Yay, we just added to the field. More love. Yay. I feel like a little like ticker symbol was like, boop, 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 boop,
Yeah.
boop, boop.
Because I
Start doing that.
sometimes use that device that they have, the inner
Yes.
balance, and it will give you a readout of what your coherence is and what you've contributed to the global field of coherence. So, yeah.
So cool. So I love like really important things. And everything you're saying, these are things we hopefully can easily get into nature in some way, shape, or form every day. Sleep, I mean, we could talk for hours about that. That is just, I mean, crucial. And the meditation, I love that you said this, Stephanie. Is one of the things I love is you're such real deal authenticity here. You know, you're not a great meditator. I want everyone to get, there is no such thing. Like, unless, okay, you're doing it every day, 5 hours a day. I mean, Deepak Chopra talks about 2.5 hours a day, every day, which is amazing. Good for him. You know, I'm thrilled if I'm doing 13 minutes. Like that's 15. I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, 1 minute, anything
Yes.
is fantastic. Anything.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
thank you for,
Exactly. And it's not that it's only successful if we get to some sort of great grand peace, because most of the time I'm meditating, my thoughts are like, woohoo, party, let's ramp it up, let's bring in all this stuff. And feels like it makes it even harder, but it's a meditation practice. So we don't always know what we're benefiting from. It's
yeah,
slow, it's over time, it's with the continuation of showing up. And it's an honoring of you as a soul because that's where you can actually be in your most open, receptive state if you're willing.
beautiful. So you get your first call.
Yeah.
Kate is your dealer
Yeah.
of clients. We love Kate. Thank you, Kate, who played a beautiful role.
Yes.
And how have your abilities, gifts, how have they shifted or opened over time? Has that changed? And I know and it was so lovely, Stephanie did a little session with me beforehand so I could experience. I really appreciated that. It was also very insightful and powerful. I know you had talked about, well, I don't want to give it away. I'll let you share your gift of genius, but has that changed? And how has that changed over the years?
I think it took me a little while to sort out like where are my skills best utilized because some people will channel strictly from the other side, usually that's called mediumship, but I'm learning not to like use different labels anymore because it's all spirit and I think we get hung up a little bit on labels. So is that going to be my jam? And I like to do that, but it's not my jam. So then what is? And then, and then other people will channel animals, and I love to do that too. And that's kind of part of my jam, but not all of it. And then trees, I channel trees and earth, Gaia, Mother Earth. That's definitely my jam. But what I also love is to channel the souls that are in human bodies here now on the planet. And there aren't a lot of people who do that in the realm of spiritual work. So people sometimes get confused, like, wait, what? They don't have to be dead? You can chant. Of course you can. A soul is a soul, whether they're having an incarnation or whether they're, complete with that for now. So I love to do that because I get to work with parents and channel the souls of their children. I get to work with children and channel the souls of their parents, or partners, sometimes partners. I work with couples and they want to know what's our soul agreement here? Why do we keep bumping up against this stupid thing again and again? What have we done together in lifetimes prior that might be, creating these roadblocks for us? It changes. I saw what it did in my relationship with my mom. And so that's where I really touched on, oh, I think this is my lane. This is my lane that I'm really, really good at and feel really good about. And it's super fun because the personality the personality comes through. And oftentimes, maybe not every time, or maybe not every time the person is relating to that, but most of the time, my clients will say, that sounded just like my son, or just like my husband, or just like my supervisor. How did that happen? I don't know. There's mystery to this that I will never know, and that's just fine with me.
Yeah, it's okay not to know. I think what's really interesting and kind of a little God wink, if you can, synchronicity is, and I believe this, and this is so fascinating. I often believe the mess we go through, right? The message comes through the mess. The work we do is often the work we've been doing with ourselves. So it's really fascinating to me. And I will tell you, I feel Jen's presence, and maybe she'll have a message. We talked about this, but feel her. I feel
Yes.
her energy. Like I don't know, and your mom a little, but I feel Jen. And honoring her makes me want to cry. And it's funny, I'm seeing a butterfly and I don't know why, and I don't know why that's coming up, but I'm seeing and feeling her energy and thanking her for being, this guide and ushering this gift for you, and how it led to a whole shift in your relationship with your mom. Isn't that interesting? Woo, I got like chills, Stephanie. I don't know what's happening. Wow. Okay, real time. No, seriously, like now you're doing this to be of service, and as a recipient of that, we talked to my daughter who's had some health things go on, and it was just so helpful. I have a whole like empowered perspective that somewhere deep I felt, but like to hear it and her way of voicing I could say it was hilarious. She always, usually like you call your mom, and she'll be like, "Hey, Jules, hey, sister," and she did this and I'm always like, "Hey, it's mom." But that's cute. So she did that. It was empowering and helpful, and it gave me this grounding and knowing. I just think it's beautiful that you're now doing what helped you shift your relationship with your mom. And something I'm sensing, well, I've felt this before. We often, those things that we may not realize that are the lesson or the life-changing experience often can come out late. That can be the thing. And that all your gifts are used, right? So you still do have the speech pathology. You have other skills and gifts. You felt the trees when you were younger, and now it's just beautiful. It's kind of like I keep seeing the back of that tapestry, and then you flip it. It's cool.
Oh my gosh. Yes to everything you just said. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
so true. And yeah, Jen would absolutely love to be part of this interview, and we can channel her for
Oh,
sure.
wow.
That is so brilliant because I can share, you and I were chatting ahead of time. Should we
Yeah.
channel on the show? Should we not? And I
Yeah.
said, I don't know. Let's
Yeah.
just see what happens. And then you touched on the very being that is probably the only one I would be so gung-ho to channel.
Oh, wow. All right. I told you guys this is the conversation you want to hear the whole thing, because this is going to
Yeah.
get better and better. And I feel like we're playing with each other, like it's just fun. I can
Yeah.
feel
Oh yeah.
her energy and getting a vision of her, and I don't know her, so I don't know actually what she looks like, but I can feel her buoyancy, like her
Yeah.
eyes twinkling, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
She
So
had big, blue, beautiful, twinkly eyes. Absolutely.
I can just feel, oh, wow. Okay. That is amazing. Before we channel her, and
Mhm.
what a tribute, because to me, there's, I know when you want to thank somebody, right? And I don't know when she passed. Was that recent or?
No, it was some years ago.
Okay.
Mhm.
I know for me, I always, for example, my great aunt was extremely instrumental in my life. Was the one who kept me in college. My parents' dad had a major financial crisis, much of my life, but especially in college, and she really like helped make it possible for me to stay and to be okay. And I just think all the time I want to thank her. She's not here in physical form, and so I'll sometimes in my mind just say to her like, I just want you to know I love you, and I think like I it led to so many amazing things. What I love right now is we're going to get to really honor her and bring her in and her wisdom. So that feels so cool. And you're so
Yeah.
lit up. I'm so excited. I am hoping this year of new beginnings is happy, healthy, and balanced for you, my friend. And I want to just share something really quickly. I only talk about and refer and recommend products that I fully love and believe in. And this is actually one that has helped me with my own healing. As you might know, maybe you don't, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. That is an autoimmune thyroid condition about 15 years ago. I go to Dr. Rao, my functional physician who I had on my podcast. She had recommended testing my omegas. So I did that through Zinzino, which I'm going to be talking about for a moment here, and why I really hope that you try the test and the oils. So I was taking omega supplements for a long time and thought I should be fine. Well, no, I wasn't fine. So Zinzino tests the omega 6:3 ratio. Out of the 1.6 million tests that they've done globally, 97% are out of balance. Yours truly, I was one of them. So what happens when we're out of balance is it affects our mood, inflammation, sleep, hormones, like everything. And if you have any kind of inflammation already or autoimmune situation, you really want to pay attention. You also may not know, I also was board certified as a health and wellness coach. And so I've been researching all different kinds of products. I did not know about Zinzino when I did the test and got back the data that I was way out of balance. I was upset about it and I started the oils, and it has totally shifted how I feel, my health, my body, my hair has grown even thicker. I mean, all kinds of amazing things. So wanted to share it with you because I really hope you will take the test. And I hope that if it speaks to you, you will do the 4-month protocol. You take the oil every day and then you retest after 4 months. You do 4 months because your cells regenerate after 4 months. So go to juliereisler.com/omega balance. That will direct you right to the page with the testing kit and the protocol. And my prayer is that you have the energy you need, the vitality, the balance you need, because your USU is needed. Your soul's purpose, it's needed in the world. And I can tell you, it's hard to do that if you can't get out of bed, if you don't feel well. So I hope this is helpful. Again, juliereisler.com/omega balance. And I'm wishing you your most balanced and blessed new year. Excited. Quick question. Do you connect with your mom now who's on the other side? Is that something you do regularly? Do you feel her? What does that look like, Stephanie?
Well, the week that my mom passed, she started sending a male cardinal to my son's bedroom window every day. I had no bird feeders. There was nothing to attract birds, and cardinals were she absolutely loved birds, and cardinals especially. So I thought that was wild every day, and it would stare at us and it would wake him up at all hours of the morning. And it was hilarious. And then, so this is her messenger animal with me, our birds. And then my father passed a little over a year ago, and I was in his home, which was my parents' home and my childhood home. I came to bring him dinner, and he's grumbling about those damn birds on the patio. And he has this screened patio. So I was like, what are you talking about? I look, there's 8 birds trapped inside his totally closed screened patio. And so my daughter and I went out there, we opened the doors, we scooted the birds out. We're like, that is the weirdest thing ever. I could not find any evidence of why they would be in there. There's nothing even growing in there, it's just dirt. So the next day I bring him dinner, the birds are back. He's so frustrated. He says, I'm going to get a cat. Right? And I'm looking at all these birds again that have gathered. I let them out again. And by the third time this happened, I went out and I said, who's here? Who is this? And I heard my mom. And she said, hey, it's me. I want to let you know that he's getting ready to fly. My dad was getting ready to transition. And she said, so I want you to be alerted to that. And she said, and also, I just love to annoy him. So that's why I'm sending all these birds. As I was kissing him goodnight that night, I said, Dad, I figured out who's been sending the birds. He said, who? I said, Mom. And he says, well, tell her to knock it off. Dear, and then they didn't return. After I had the understanding and the message, and I could, get ready, get prepared for what she was advising me around, we didn't have a problem with them coming back in anymore. So that's my relating to her now. It's in the animal world mostly. And sometimes she'll put really irritating melodies in my head that she used to hum constantly and that I just find to be so depressing. And I'll wake up and I'll hum them all day and be like, what? Get out of my head. What is this? But I should say, I also just recently relocated to my childhood home. So all this energy of my parents is here. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I'm figuring out energetically, like, no more songs, Mom. You can still bring the birds,
Yeah.
but I don't want to
Birds
sing
stay.
birds.
Songs need to go. Wow, wow, wow. That's an amazing story. Actually, that has me really curious. What do your kids think about this gift and think about
Hmm.
what you do? And I know marriages, I don't know marriages, but the marriage, your friends, like what was that like for your former husband, for yeah, for those
Yeah.
close to you.
Yeah. Well, my former husband was very uncomfortable with anything that was not left brain exclusive. So
Yep.
there was, that there wasn't space for this, my gifts within the context of our marriage or relationship. So that we made the difficult decision to release each other from that. My kids, however, think it's pretty cool. And they were growing, like my oldest was quite young when I was starting my channeling business, and I was homeschooling him at the time. So he got to see me go into the room for a session and come out like joyful and glowing, and he'd say, "Well, how was it?" And I'd say, "Oh my gosh, the most amazing things are coming through, the most incredible messages, and this client was so happy and felt healed from this or that." So he got excited as from a youngster about whatever this is. And my then my middle child is super, super intuitive, and she and I would have these really deep conversations, and we would notice miracles happening all the time. And then my youngest, I would just put a pendulum in his hand and he would hold it and say, and this was like at 4 years old, "What's for dinner tonight?" And wait for his pendulum, I don't know, to tell him what was on the menu.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it's been beautiful to let let my kids have their true and real experience with spirit and to share what my path is, but it's just one. But we also don't exclude anything, whatever feels true and right and real to someone and brings them love and peace, they get to believe that. They get to be that.
Oh, amen to that. That's beautiful. Yeah, beautifully said. I so appreciate you sharing because I think what can happen, as we change and shift, open up, not always. Sometimes couples grow together. Sometimes there's a healing I had a similar kind of experience and didn't have the words for it. Like didn't know energy. I mean, I just didn't know those words 16 years ago, whatever it was. And it can be, this kind of coming maybe into more alignment with this knowing yourself and connecting to spirit. I love what you said, just to let everyone have their experience. I can almost feel the experience with your mom that came through Jen. Like, you don't need to change or fix anyone. Like, there's no one that needs to awaken, or they get to do that on their own time. Their soul has a plan. So I think this is a great reminder that, let me focus on me, focus on ourselves, share with our loved ones, and like let everyone have their honest experience. And that's cool. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine this is the world that I imagine is possible.
Yeah.
And if everyone was flowing in that way with their truth and trusting their inner voice of wisdom, wow, we would not be where we are right now.
Oh, girl, this is exactly why this work you're doing, what I've been called to do. I believe this is so flipping important. I actually believe this is the answer, meaning
Yeah.
inside each of us, like actually everyone has access. It's free access and it's you're born with it. And yeah, yeah, this is yeah, I could just take a moment of silence in that and
Yeah.
just take that in.
Yeah.
This is the truth, Ruth. All right. So, I don't usually say that. Oh, you are so great. I think I'm playing with your high, you're just high vibe, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so fun as an empath. I feel high just being around you. And all of our beautiful listeners, wherever you are, we love you and hope that you're getting this dose as well, because this is good. This is good energy right now. This is feeling yummy.
It sure is.
Yeah, I am wondering, would you like to bring Jen, your mentor, in just to see what she would like to share, a message, anything? Like I just feel her and want to honor her because I adore you and thank you, Jen, wherever and however you are here. Yeah.
100%. Yes, I'm going to take a sip of water, then I'm going to reach down and grab my crystals, one of which was a crystal that Jen was holding in her last days of life. So let me do that. Okay, so let's bring in Goddess Jen. Hmm. Oh, you know it. And I think I have waited long enough for this moment, sisters. Long enough. Thank you very much. I appreciate so beyond words how you have acknowledged me, how you have honored me, how you are honoring me right now. And so trust that what I'm about to say is for everyone, even though I might be tempted to direct it specifically to you or to you for that matter. She's speaking to you, Julie. Okay, so here's what I have to say. Number one, I am an expert. I get to claim myself as an expert because now here I sit in this vast love love world of all that has ever been. And so I know what I did not know, and I am free to share what is true, what is so. So I am actually going to extend myself here and make myself available to any one of you, hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands, whoever's listening, whoever wishes to be in communication. I'm here. I'm here. I will always respond. I will always give you a response from the greatest place of love because that is where I reside, because that is what is true. That is really actually the only thing that is true. That is the only thing that is true. So that's the first thing. The first thing you should understand that I want to impart. The second thing I want to say is that it matters how you feel. It matters. It matters how you feel about yourself. It matters how you feel from within. It matters how you feel on the outside too. And you are worth it. You are worth investing time and energy and kindness and sweetness and self-compassion and care and love, 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 love all the way, all the time. Do that. Do that for yourself. I can tell you that from where I sit, it makes an enormous impact. Every time you love yourself, you are shifting humanity on the planet. It's an upward shift. I can promise you this. If I had the machinery to show you, you would see the vibrations go higher and higher and higher. The light gets brighter and brighter and brighter. And so if you want affirmation, that's what I'm giving you. Take good care, take sweet care, take excellent care of you. You matter, you are precious. You are so very precious. You will know more about this soon enough, but for the time that you are there, the blessing of time that you have to be embodied, to know the miracle of the body and how it handles pretty much everything that you need it to handle without having to ask it for a single thing. Well, I want you to know that this piece of loving yourself, it's everything. Thirdly, what I would want all to understand is that just as I have made myself available, please see number one, you at any time, so too are many in line for availability for you to reach out to, for you to receive from. I can see right now, I can see it all. There are lines, scores, crowds. You would not believe the density of the crowds around you, each and every one of you. And it's pure love that these crowds are bringing, these individuals. You might call them your ancestors. You might call them your spirit team. You might call them your your dog Poochie. It doesn't matter what you call them. They are there for you. And you know what? You are there for them too. It is a reciprocity that I am speaking of, and this is what is most important. For some of you might be inclined to feel guilty for asking for help so much, and I say to you, this is their greatest desire. This is their greatest purpose. This is your team's agreement, is to be listening for you, to be on the lookout for you, to be in the exchange with you. And they don't want to trample you. They don't want to make decisions without your input, without your request. So you must request. This is my point. You must request. It's okay that you have forgotten this important piece, but now that I'm reminding you, you have no excuse. Ask, 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 and I promise you, you will receive. And furthermore, I think we're on number 4. What I would like to share is coming back to light. So you have options. You have lots and lots of options. You have options how you spend your time, who you spend your time with, what pursuits you are engaging in more often than other pursuits. And so where are you in service to the light? And if we bring it back to the simplest of terms, the light is that which lights you up. It's not necessarily doing the greatest, hardest thing so that humanity has so that you give humanity the greatest impact. I'm bringing you back to the micro here. The micro is you, and it's actually also the macro, and that's sort of the mind-blowing thing about all of it, isn't it? So I am reminding you that if you wish to bring more light earthside, and I know that all of you do, everyone does, regardless of what their outward actions appear. then you will want to find those places of light and you will want to sit in them for a little bit longer instead of rushing yourself out to do, say, the dishes or to tend to, say, another or to do any other onerous chore, which by the way, I grew so tired of chores that I decided, heck with it, not doing that anymore. And so use me as an example. I did that during my lived experience. I would look at a sink full of dishes and I would say, nope, not now, not for me, not going to do it. And then I would sit my bottom down at my kitchen table and channel away, pendulum a swinging. Yes, yes, yes. That's what I want to invite you to do. Find your way, find your joy, find your frequency, and stay there for longer and longer and longer stretches of time. And I suppose if I need to wrap up in honor of this thing that you all call time that I am so happy not to be any sort of part of anymore, I would say this. I would say that I love you all unconditionally. And she does.
Seeing and feeling, Stephanie. Wow.
I have chills everywhere. And I just, when I have this connection to her, I feel her saying, yes, you did good. It's kind of like a sister, like I always compared myself to Jen in channeling because I wanted to do it as well as she did. And she used to always say to me, you are. Like you don't like stop acting as though this is somewhere you have to get to. You doing you in your way is just as good as me doing it in my way. So hearing her say, yeah, that's good. You did good. It feels amazing. There's still always going to be a part of me that wants her to know that how much I love and appreciate her and that I will do whatever I can to elevate that relationship.
Wow. I am so grateful. Thank you for saying yes. And what a beautiful, I'm seeing like the circle of the infinity symbol bringing her in, both to be honored and then to share such that wisdom is like spot on. I could just feel that like everyone pay attention, go back, listen again, come back and listen again.
Yeah,
The one, two, three, and four. I love it. I'm like, okay, back to one. She's available. So I was like, I'm adding Jen to my team. I mean, we now know each other. It doesn't matter. Um, and the reminder, we all have these crowds of beings, of loved ones. I mean, that's love her energy. And thank you. That was super special.
thank you. That was your amazing intuition that tapped into her. She's probably on your shoulder like, hey, 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 me. I heard you
Yeah.
talking about maybe you'll channel me. I'm here. I'm here. Let's do it.
I definitely felt her presence and like how can we not? Like she's she's really the anchor, what brought
Yeah.
this. I mean, what a gift. What a beautiful also the reminder, I love that she doesn't have to deal with time anymore, which of course every spiritual tradition goes into something around there is no space and time. The divine, the where we really live is not in this little box of space and time. And I love that she's like, this is way better. This is way better. No dishes. I have no time limit. I'm always here. I just get to love. I'm like, that sounds amazing. I mean, I don't want to go there yet, but like
Right.
that, yeah, not yet, not for a while. However, we could bring some of that here. And I think not to forget and not to lose, and I feel this too. The most important thing, what I heard is, and you talked about this earlier, Stephanie, with your own managing your energy is self care and self love. Really, what actually I'm seeing too is like the heart coherence when you are in coherence. I'm seeing a similar thing with self love. It really raises the vibration. It's adding more coherence.
Oh,
That's,
absolutely. Yes. Thank you for
yeah.
linking that. That's absolutely essential and crucial. Yeah. Adding love to the field. And so when we feel badly about ourselves, which I do too sometimes, right? This is a human experience. I'm not immune to it. Um, it's such a different way, there's such a different frequency that I am adding or detracting, right? I'm sometimes draining other people if I'm asking for a lot of whatever reassurance or whatever it is that I'm off balance with. So do what needs to be done to take care of yourself as the exquisite being that you are.
Oh, that is the perfect place to just land the plane right there. I hope I hope you heard that. I hope you that sinks in and that you really, really, really take this to heart, especially today, now in a new year. It doesn't matter. Always, always. Stephanie, this is just, I just had this thought of like, oh, I could just talk to you for hours and again. Like it's just joyful and so easy. And thank you. Going back to the beginning of the courage to say yes and the courage to, really step into this. That really takes something. And I know the root, of course, as we said earlier, is heart. And so being in your heart and adding so much goodness to the field with what you're doing and who you are. It's obvious. It like radiates out of you. And I'll leave it if there's any last, we call them heart flares here because I actually see them as like I feel like what we're doing is giving your heart the mic. And I'm like, Stephanie's heart, anything else you want to say?
I think she said it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel complete with all that we have explored and shared. This is within all of us, like you said. So
Yeah.
carry it and protect it and treat it as precious.
Mm. Thank you. And I just want to say thank you to my beloved soul sister brother, wherever you are. We love you. Jen loves you. You now have a new team member. Please bring her in. She was like, I'm available. If I were you, I don't know, anyone on the other side that is high vibe and all seeing and all loving wants to help. Yes. So bring in Jen to your team. She is willing and available. No, and thank you for being here. Seriously, you being here, listening, taking this in, loving yourself is shifting the coherence and the vibration in this planet and beyond, more than what we can see with our eyes. So thank you for being your you, for being here. Love you. Mwah. Namaste.